The Marshall Islands, a remote paradise in the Pacific, were home to thriving communities for centuries. Before 1946, the atolls boasted crystal-clear waters, abundant marine life, and sustainable fishing practices. Traditional thatched huts dotted the shores, while elders passed down navigational skills using stars and wave patterns. This self-sufficient way of life would soon face irreversible destruction. In 1946, U.S. warships abruptly appeared on the horizon, marking the beginning of Operation Crossroads. Without meaningful consultation, the military declared Bikini Atoll a testing site for nuclear weapons. Soldiers unloaded equipment as confused islanders watched, their ancestral lands suddenly deemed expendable for geopolitical ambitions during the Cold War. Under promises of temporary relocation, the U.S. military coerced 167 Bikini Islanders onto overcrowded ships in March 1946. They were dumped on Rongerik Atoll, a barren island with minimal food and water. Left behind, homes, ancestral graves, and a way of life. Many believed they'd return in weeks. Exile lasted decades. On July 1, 1946, Able, a 23-kiloton atomic bomb, exploded 520 feet above Bikini Atoll. The blast vaporized ships used as targets and sent radioactive water surging into the lagoon. The military celebrated success, ignoring how fallout contaminated fish and coral, the Marshallese people's primary food source for generations. March 1, 1954, the U.S. detonated Castle Bravo, a 15-megaton hydrogen bomb, 1,000 times stronger than Hiroshima. It obliterated 3 islands, created a mile-wide crater, and irradiated 7,000 square miles. Unaware of the danger, Rongelap Islanders watched snow, radioactive ash fall, leading to acute radiation sickness and generations of birth defects. Fallout from 67 nuclear tests saturated the islands. Cesium-137 entered the food chain. Coconuts and fish became deadly. Islanders suffered burns, hair loss, and cancers. U.S. doctors secretly studied radiation effects on humans without informed consent. A cruel experiment documented in the 1970s but denied for decades. By 1958, entire islands had vanished. Blasts shattered coral reefs, destabilizing atoll foundations. Eniwetak's Runit Dome, a radioactive waste dump, cracks today, leaking plutonium into rising seas. Climate change accelerates erosion, drowning ancestral lands twice, first by bombs, now by ocean. Relocated to Kili Island, 1/6 the size of Bikini, exiled communities faced starvation. Without lagoons for fishing, they depended on sporadic U.S. shipments. Cultural collapse followed, navigational stars forgotten, traditions diluted. We became refugees on our own land, lamented Elder Judah Kesabuki. Declassified documents reveal the U.S. knowingly exposed islanders to radiation. Compensation? A $150 million settlement in 1986, just $4,000 per survivor. No cleanup, no repatriation. They treated us like lab rats, testified Lijan Eknaling, a Rongelap survivor whose family endured 5 miscarriages. Today, Bikini remains uninhabitable. Radiation exceeds Chernobyl. Marshallese activists fight for climate justice, linking nuclear trauma to rising seas. The UN calls the U.S. tests a permanent crime against humanity. Yet, the bomb's true toll, cultural genocide, ecological ruin, remains unacknowledged by the perpetrators.